So for my feature for my screencast, I've selected Snapshot, and I'm going to take you from the beginning how you would set up a snapshot. So I'm going to first select my group, and I'm going to work with my freshman block class. It's ELA, so I'm going to click on that, and my grade level is 9. Now I'm going to select some standards. So these are some standards that I've selected before, and just to change it up, I'm going to X out of that, and I'm going to add additional standards. I want to focus on language this time, and I think I'm going to try, they need a little work with parallel structure and use of phrases. So I'm just going to focus on those two standards this time. Okay, I'm going to click Done. So how I'm going to use this particular snapshot is just to do a, this would be like a formative assessment after I have given instruction on these two particular standards. So this is snapshot 5. And I'm going to call this parallel structure and phrases. Just so I remember what that is. Next, I want to set a due date. And based on my plans for next week, I'm going to set this up for the 14th. And I'm going to keep the time unlimited. That'll help with to differentiate for some of my classified students. There's going to be 8 questions. That's pretty reasonable, just for a quick formative assessment. It says it should take them about 15 minutes. Now I want to see what these questions actually look like. So I'm going to click on Student Preview. Okay, definitely assesses parallel structure. They're going to be multiple choice questions, which is fine for a quick formative assessment. All right, they look pretty good. I'm not going to go through all of them. So let's close that out. I'm not going to assign this now because most of my students have the app on their devices, and if this pops up, they're going to jump in right away and try to do that. I don't want them to try to do this without having some type of instruction. So I'm going to plan for later. And it's going to store it here for me. So this is the one that you just saw me set up. When I'm ready to assign it, all I have to do is just click on this and it's going to be assigned. So the other nice feature that I want to show you is the use of data. You can view this as a group. You can view it as an individual student. So let's back up here. And here's one of the reports that you're provided on this. This is a real quick overview. Now, obviously, I want to go back to my freshman class. I want to just zero in on them. So you're going to see that the data is going to change, right? Now, this really doesn't tell me too much about individual students. So I want to go down to this section here. So you can see when I put the cursor over certain colors, now red means that, red's never good, right? So red means that they're a little behind, yellow is borderline, and green is always good, green meets it. So it gives me a list of individual students and what their particular needs might be. And then what it also does is gives you the description of the standard. It's right up here, just in case you don't remember letters and numbers. And then the other thing that's provided, which I think this is a pretty cool feature, if you need additional resources, they're available for you right here. And if you want to keep them, just click on that, add to your library, and you can go back to them anytime. So let's take a look at some individual students. So I'm going back to the top, clicking on that, and that will give me some individual students. So Again, I'm looking for red. I am not looking for yellow and green. Let's click on this one, because the student just kind of stands out with this particular standard. So I'm going to look at the question, and I'm going to look to see how she answered that question. And if it's far off, then I'm going to retest her. If it's not too far off, I'm going to say, well, okay, let's take a look at the way the question's phrased. She was pretty close on this one, but she's not pretty close on this one. So I'm going to click Reassign Quiz. The student's going to get this message. I'd like you to retake it. She still has unlimited time. I'm going to give her a due date, and for that due date, I'm going to make it the 13th, and I'm going to reassign a snapshot. Now, if I were doing this in real time, and the students are taking the snapshot, I could be at my desk, and I could be monitoring this as they're finishing. And as they're finishing their snapshots, if for some reason they're scoring more in the red, I can automatically reassign it while the student is sitting right there in front of me. And I think that's a great feature, rather than having them retake it, days later. But I did just want to show you that feature as to how you can reassign it. Okay, so let's just recap a little bit. I showed you how to set up or create a new snapshot, selecting specific standards, and you would select those standards based on your instruction, what your students need to know and be able to do. Once you have administered that snapshot, you can now go back and you can look at your data. You can analyze that data two ways. You can analyze it as a whole group, or you can take a look at the data for individual students and then reassign as needed. Another feature that I like about this is you can share your snapshots. If you have PLCs and you want to develop some common formative assessments, you can share those snapshots within your PLC group. Thank you.